In today's episode, how an N cost my company $65,000. Bank won't make change, I close my account instead. I don't work here anymore, hey, boss, got an opening? So let's get started. How an N cost my company $65,000. I have been waiting about 2 months for this fallout in all its glory. I knew my boss would try to make me the fall guy, but I think I employed CYA well in this instance. A little backstory. I work as an office engineer at a mid-sized prefabricated concrete structures plant. About 3 months ago, our plant manager left spontaneously for a much higher-paying gig down south. Due to this, his responsibilities were distributed to whoever had capacity. I was put in charge of purchasing with the caveat that any purchase order, PO, over $5,000 had to be reviewed by that project's project manager. This was due to a mistake, due in part to my inexperience and in part my overconfidence, I made on an order which only cost us a couple grand, but delayed a project. Also due to lower labor costs, and the size our own steel shop, we have most of our large steel structures fabricated just across the border in Canada. Okay, on to the story. Our general manager is acting PM on a project which includes a large steel frame surrounded by concrete modules. I was told to Jeff this frame quoted by our Canadian metal fabricator. I get the quote back and throw together the PO. When I look back through the project specifications before sending the PO for review, I see our project has a Buy American clause, not Buy America, as we had assumed. Almost all of our projects are Buy America, and we are very familiar with it. This little N makes all the difference. Under Buy America, a Canadian fabricator can use American steel and meet every requirement. However, under Buy American, all steel must be domestic, and all fabrication must be done in the US. My GM was out of town on what was essentially a vacation to a project site we have in Hawaii, and was having none of my calls and emails marked as urgent. I informed him in a couple emails and multiple voicemails that we had to go to a different fabricator or the product would be rejected. I got an angry email back telling me to place the order immediately. I tried one more call in desperation, straight to voicemail, and then sent him over the completed PO with the Buy American spec attached, telling him this is well over my $5,000 limit, and I needed to get him to approve it before I sent it out. He approved it in less than 10 minutes, I sent it, and waited for the fallout. Well, it finally happened. Our product was delivered yesterday, and today the project owner sent over an inspector to make sure everything was done per project drawings. He noticed the manufacturer right away and told us he would have to reject the product, purely because it does not meet Buy American. In less than 20 minutes I was getting an earful from my GM asking me why this wasn't caught before we wasted over 60 grand on something that would clearly be rejected. I let him finish his rant, insulting my intelligence, threatening firing me, breaking protocol, the works. I asked him to pull up my emails from the order date, and showed him that he was informed of the issue, and my concerns were ignored. He didn't take this well and told me to get the hell out of his office. Oops. Now there is nothing left but to wait. Our project will be delayed at least a month, and the owner of our company is getting involved. I have the emails saved on a jump drive at home, and the phone logs, while not recording the conversations, show that I left multiple voicemails on the same date, cannot be touched by the GM. Still a bit nervous, but I think I covered myself pretty well. Bank won't make change, I close my account instead. This happened a few years ago. I was working at a large national chain restaurant as a manager. I was asked to temporarily reassign to a location in a city about an hour away, and accepted. They put me up in a hotel, the whole 9 yards. The first weekend I was there, I discovered that the GM had screwed up and not ordered any change, small bills/rolls of coins, for the safe, and that the local branch of our bank would be closing in the next hour. I also happened to have a personal account at the same bank, and had, in the past, gone and gotten change from the branch back home. Since time was tight, I quickly looked up the address of the bank, grabbed $800 and jumped in my car. I get to the bank, wait in line, and then ask them to make change, $400 in $5 bills, $300 in $1 bills, and $100 in assorted rolled coins. The teller tells me that the bank doesn't make change. Me, thinking it was because they didn't know me, informed her that our restaurant had an account she could look up. She then told me no, we don't make change at all. The thought going through my brain was, WTF? You are a bank. I tried explaining the situation, but was quickly shot down. I left, went back to my car, then had an idea. I went back inside the bank with my personal checkbook. Got to the front of the line, and, luckily, the same teller. Before she could even greet me, I held out my checkbook and told her, I would like to close this account, since this bank is no longer customer service oriented. She kind of rolled her eyes, but went about my request. Then she asked how I wanted my cash back, an automatic response, I'm sure, and one I was counting on. I said, $400 in $5s, $300 in $1s, $70 in rolled quarters, $25 in rolled dimes, $4 in rolled nickels, and $1 in rolled pennies. The rest can be on a cashier's check. No reason for her to deny it, so I got my change. And the following Monday, I returned, closed out the other 2 accounts I had there, and I opened accounts at a different bank where I have been banking ever since. I don't work here anymore. Hey, boss, got an opening? Worked for a medical transportation company that had a contract with Medicaid. One of their many rules was that you could not provide any assistance to the patient inside of their house. One elderly lady had an old house with a very small foyer that you had to climb 3 steps to get to the main floor. The only other entrance was around back and up 2.5 flights of rickety steps to an old deck that opened into a bedroom. Upstairs. She's in a wheelchair. Common sense says take her in the front door, up 3 stairs, and she's home on the level she lives on. Medicaid says take her up the outside stairs, dump her in the bedroom upstairs, and let her worry about getting down to the living room level. We ignored their policy and took her in the front door anyway. A random inspection by a random inspector showed that we were not in compliance. We appealed, the inspector came out and saw the different options, and decided that we had no case for appeal. Take her up the outside stairs. Nope. From then on, when the driver arrived at her house, he would get her out of the van in the sidewalk, and then get on the radio and tell the boss to shove his stupid job. Now that he was no longer an employee, he was free to assist this lovely person into her front door and up the stairs. Once finished, they would come back to the van, tell the boss they'd reconsidered, and ask for their job back. Boss was always understanding and took them back, but very carefully noted the 10 to 15 minute break in their employment to show that the company remained in compliance. Aftermath, we had contests to see who could have the most dramatic I quit scene. Medicaid noted our activities, but couldn't put a handle on how to stop it. Malicious compliance achieved. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.